Hey, Sammy.
Hey, Lana. How are you doing today?
Not so great.
I figured as much since you have your face in that pint of Ben and Jerry's. What happened?
I had another rejection on one of my stories again.
Well, that sucks. I'm sorry your story got rejected. So what are you working on next?
Finishing this pint of ice cream.
Well, that's not going to help. It looks good, though. Can I have some?
Sure.
Oh, man, that's good.
I know, right?
Do you know what else is good? Your stories. Just because you got rejected doesn't mean they're bad. They're just not right for a particular publication. Remember when you got turned down by guys all the time in high school?
Yeah.
All the time?
Yeah.
And you survived, didn't you? Even when your teeny tiny teenage heart was broken.
Yeah.
And you realized that the people who rejected you weren't really a good fit anyway. And that applies here too. They didn't tell you what you wrote sucked. They just said it wasn't right for their publication or right at this time.
Yeah. You're right. Aw, Sammy, you're the best. Oh.
Aww. Now put that ice cream down and take me for a walk. And let's take a look at the feedback and start working on something new.
Hell yeah.
Give me one more spoonful of that ice cream first.
No one likes to be rejected. I should know, I wrote a whole book about it. If you've ever felt that even Mother Teresa had more game than you, and you couldn't even get a date at a leper colony, you'll love my book, Bad Taste in Men. Available on Amazon.com in paperback or for Kindle. Please buy my product. Shameless shilling aside, rejection hurts. Everyone takes pride in their work. If it's a creative piece, you put a lot of time and a lot of heart into it. It's a piece of you. It's only natural to feel like you got rejected. That's not the case, though. Whether you're a creative writer who's working on short stories or a novel, or if you're a copywriter who deals in marketing and ad copy, here are a couple things to keep in mind when dealing with rejection. Number one, don't take rejection personally. Rejection is subjective. As long as you get feedback that is constructive and not mean-spirited, it's something you can work with. So be open to that feedback even when you're rejected and accept it graciously. From a creative standpoint, rejection really isn't a slight against you. Your piece might not have been right for a particular publication, or maybe they had too much of a specific style. Maybe they hit their limit on zombie stories or vampire stories. It doesn't mean that your story is a bad story. It's just not the right home right now for that publication and their readers. What does suck about getting rejected on a story or a book that you've written is that editors and agents are really busy. They don't often have the time to give detailed critiques or detailed feedback as to why your piece was rejected. Some editors are super kind and thoughtful, and they realize that someone's a little new to it. Sometimes they'll be able to offer helpful feedback. So if you get that, take that as a gift. And even if you don't get feedback on your story from an editor or even an agent if you're pitching a book, there's definite ways that you can work around that and get feedback from outside sources. Now, from a copywriting standpoint, there are also some ways that you can ward off taking that rejection personally. If you write marketing or ad copy, there could be a multitude of reasons why you weren't quite happy with that first draft. For one, it might not be on brand, it might be a little longer than what they were looking for, maybe you over-explained in some areas or didn't elaborate on some points. As long as they're able to offer constructive feedback and give you an idea of what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right, you're good to go. Number two, you are not the first person to be rejected, and you won't be the last. And if you keep at it, it won't be the last time you get rejected either. The important thing is to hang in and to keep improving. Tons of writers have dealt with rejection. Stephen King used to tack his various rejection notices up in his room as inspiration. Tons of comic book writers struggled with rejection over the years. Even J.K. Rowling was told that Harry Potter wouldn't sell and that some of her other work wouldn't be a commercial success. And even if somebody tells you that your work isn't commercially viable, keep in mind that what's not commercially viable today might be successful at a later time. Trends go in cycles and trends evolve. In 1991, comics icon Stan Lee and director Sam Raimi were going to collaborate on a movie. They wanted to bring Thor to the big screen. Mind you, this is 1991. When they pitched the idea, they were turned down by major studios and told that comic book movies don't sell. Fast forward to 2019 and tell Disney and Marvel Studios that just sold out theaters with Avengers Endgame that comic book movies don't sell. That said, what might not work this year can work next year, or maybe a few years down the line. So don't chuck the manuscript just yet. Save it, refine it, and wait for when it might work for someone else or for something else. Number 3, there are positives to rejection. Don't let it get you down. Don't let a rejection letter, or 20, make you stop. Does it hurt? Yeah. Is it a little discouraging? Fuck yeah. But don't give up. Take that shit sundae that is rejection and retrain your brain to see some of the good things. Because there's quite a lot of good things about rejection. For starters, 1, you did the damn thing. You got to a point where you were able to take an idea and put it into a tangible form. Lots of people don't even get that far, so don't be too hard on yourself. You created something, and while it's frustrating that you don't get to share it with as many people as you like to, eventually you will. Just keep at it. Secondly, rejection helps you build a thicker skin. Today, you need that thick skin. No one told you that your work sucked. And even if they did, that's just like one person's opinion, man. Different people like different things. And while I don't subscribe to that whole participation trophy bullshit thing and telling somebody that they're a winner when they sure as hell aren't, someone telling you that you suck isn't a defining factor for you, for that piece of work, or for the entire career that you're trying to carve out for yourself. If someone does tell you you suck, that's okay. Look for beta testers. Look for mentors. Look for somebody who knows their shit and can give you pointers on the things that you do suck at. It's okay to take ownership that, hey, maybe this isn't so great, or take an objective look at your work. Put it in a drawer. Step away from it for like a couple days, maybe a week, but come back to it. Make sure that you come back to it. And then when you're not so emotionally invested in all of the words that you put onto the page, you can sit down and take a critical look at it and go, yeah, that's kind of where I shit the bed here. That part was unnecessary, that bogs it down, take it out. And start to rework it. So from there, you'll be armed with different approaches to working on your storytelling. And thirdly, rejection allows you room for improvement. There is always room for improvement, no matter how long you've been writing, no matter how long you've been copywriting or writing stories. What rejection can allow you to do is encourage you to think about your work in a different way. So maybe you wrote a story about vampires, and everyone you're sending it to is sick and tired of vampires. So save that story. Then think about how that story might be different if you wrote about it from the perspective of a werewolf, or a zombie, if zombies have also been done to death too, so fuck that. But think about it from the perspective and how that story might change if it's following a specific trend. I'm not telling you to just drop everything that you're doing and chase trends. That's kind of bullshit too. But if you're trying to break into a field and trying to get some recognition with your name, that might be one way to look at it, as to what's popular, what you like, what you don't like, and what you think is something fresh and different that people need. So think about your story that was previously about vampires and shine it through the lens of something like, well, what if it was about werewolves? Or maybe do some digging on some obscure folklore monsters. Maybe there's one that stands out to you. So how would that story be different if you wrote about, say, a Scottish knuckleheavy instead? It's essentially a creepy, skinless, centaur-like horse creature. It's gross. If your work is getting rejected, take a step back and try to rework it based on any feedback that you got. Or by just trying to do something a little different. Then, dust yourself off and find another publication to submit to. And don't limit yourself to just one style or one genre of storytelling. Look to sites like Duotrope, Authors Publish, or even Reddit for some writing prompts if you're stuck in a rut. A lot of times, Duotrope and Authors Publish and even dark markets have calls for themed submissions. And sometimes that can get you thinking a little differently and give you an inspiration for something to write about. But it gives you a chance to expand and try something new, and maybe you'll have that breakthrough that you need. That said, I hope these tips are somewhat helpful to you and kind of give you a little bit of the kick in the ass that you might need to get over the hump and get back out there. That said, rejection blows, but don't let it discourage you. When it comes to writing, it's actually pretty normal. And it just makes it even better when you finally do get that piece accepted. So hang in there. Check out the description below for some helpful resources and websites that'll give you ideas for writing prompts, places to potentially submit, and other sites that'll probably give you some more solid advice too. So check that out. And if you have any questions about writing or things you're struggling with, please drop them in the comments below. I'd love to help. Granted, I am not the most successful writer out there, that's for damn sure, but it's not my first rodeo. I've been around for a bit, and I'd really like to help make it easier for others on their journey too. So, from Sammy and me, thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon. Take care. Good luck. Bye.